And so many marriages fall apart. So many relationships fall apart because you get stuck right here.
Yeah.
And what I realized what you're really saying is, I want
to be seen by you.
Oh my gosh. I was just about to say that.
Really?
No, I'm joking. No, I love it though. That was better than what I was going to say. She wants to be seen by me. She doesn't want a passive relationship. You want the intentionality of what you expect. The reason why you married me is why you want to stay married to me.
Exactly. I want the things that I was getting before.
So one of the best dates that I think we ever had in our entire marriage or in our entire relationship, because we weren't married at the time.
Okay. See that right there?
I know this is really, really bad. I'm so sorry. This is really bad. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Love in the Middle Show. I am Laban.
I'm Charity.
Today's episode, we're getting into the 7 secrets of a healthy relationship.
We're in secret number 2.
Yes, and so the first one was
forgiveness.
So if you didn't check that out, go and watch that one. You don't have to watch these in any particular order, and these aren't the only secrets to a healthy relationship.
These are our secrets.
These are our top 7.
Yes.
So these are our top 7 secrets to a healthy relationship. You do what you do, right? If it's working for you, you do what you do. But what we've learned is if you want God's best, you got to do it God's way. Here we talk about what is God's way? What have we learned to be God's way? How do we do it God's way? And when we struggle through doing it God's way, we want to empower you so you don't have to go through all the struggles that we went through, right? So you can kind of learn and go into your relationship, go into your marriage with the knowledge and the wisdom. That's what it really is. It's wisdom, because wisdom proves itself right. And so these are the things.
We're 12 years, so
that,
we must be doing something.
We don't take pride in our own selves, because we suck at this. But God is good.
You suck at this. I'm pretty awesome.
Go ahead and watch that last episode, and you'll see exactly what you come to your own conclusion about how we are. I suck. Then I'll just leave it at that. No. But this is exciting. So today's secret is dating. Did you forget?
I did.
Oh my goodness, it was your. Okay, if you watch the last episode about forgiveness, it was your choice to do dating.
You know what it was?
And I didn't question it.
Because we're going back and forth between dating and the other one. I was like, so it's
no, we weren't. I said, what's the second one?
I was.
Okay, see? I just let her have her choice.
Dating.
I learned fast.
All right, secret number 2, dating. We were like, but I am dating. But no, that's not what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
So even if you're in a dating relationship, we're talking about dating, okay?
Yeah. So if you're pre-marriage,
act of dating.
If you're pre-marriage and you are like, me and my boo, we dating, like that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the practice of going out on a date.
Yes, practicing of spending time, intentional time together.
And it doesn't necessarily mean spending money, because I know there's some people out there, men and women both. There's some men who think that going out on a date means I gotta do this lavish thing. And maybe for the woman that you're with, maybe that's true.
Maybe that's her. So we don't want to scare you wrong. Be like, I took her to the park and she dumped me. Sorry.
Know who you're with. Okay?
Yes,
know who you're with. And if you don't think it should be that way, but that's how she is, pray for her. Right? Pray for her, because God can change her heart.
Or he'll change your heart and give you more money.
There you go. Right? So all of the above. Or she show you how to use the little bit that you got to do what you got to do.
Do what you do.
But that's not what. So it doesn't require that it takes a lot of money, but it does take intentionality.
Like do we just have a date?
Oh yeah, we're dating right now.
We're dating right
Every
now.
episode is a date.
Yes, it is. That is so
like
true.
Seriously, every episode is a date for us, and I don't say that passively, and that's why you agree, because for us, our whole premise of doing the Love in the Middle show is inviting y'all into a regular conversation that we have. So we're acknowledging that you all are here, so we talk to the camera and we talk to you sometimes.
But we have these conversations all the time.
But yeah, if y'all wasn't here, like
we have this conversation, and I'd be like, ooh.
Our dates be like this. We go in about like
we have conversations about everything.
Everything.
So yeah, all right, let's talk about it. Dating. All right, okay, so what is the best date? Okay, before we get into that, okay, why is dating important?
Okay.
Let's do that first, and then we'll talk about the best date. So why is dating important? Why is that continuing to practice the
The art
The
of
art
dating.
of dating. That sounds like a thing.
That is a thing. We should write a book.
Why is dating important?
Well, so
you.
from my perspective, dating. So I like to tell a story like how I came to understand.
Because this was not always the case, y'all.
I knew it was important.
Let's be honest. It was not the case. Our relationship grew a little stagnant in year 2.
Wow, you just go.
I'm telling. I gotta tell the truth.
She already telling me.
Year 2.
So before we got married, I knew dating was important.
Ooh, he knew how to date. He knew how to take me out. He knew it's the chase. I think y'all just like the chase, the thrill of the chase.
And then
you get it, then you're like, I got it.
I think once we became married, it's like, well, we're always together. So my mentality used to be, we're always together. Like we don't have we could just spend time. Like I'm always with you. Like we always watching movies together. And
I said that to you.
Over time, Charity I was noticing that she was growing in, I don't know, was it resentment or frustration? To me, it was frustration.
A little resentment in there.
Okay, so you felt resentment. I saw frustration, and I couldn't understand why she was getting frustrated.
What's the deal? I married you. We're doing great.
And we would go on dates, but it was different for her. And I don't know what the aha moment was for me. I guess the Lord just kind of showed me, or maybe I had a conversation with someone, but I started to realize, man, let me not, because sometimes we argue in relationships, and an argument is essentially, here's what you think about a certain thing, here's what I think about a certain thing, and sometimes you're not really listening to what the other person thinks, because you're just trying to impose what you think, right? And if you look in Genesis chapter 3, when Adam and Eve disobey God and then they receive the consequences from God, there's one of the consequences is that essentially, and I'm gonna just kind of summarize it, God basically said that for the rest of time on this earth, men and women would be in conflict. And the conflict would be, she wants control and he will want power. Now think about that. There's a conflict between power and control. So when we argue, in essence, what often happens is she's trying to have it her way, control. I'm trying to make it how overall
I think it should be.
How it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know, that might be a bad way of explaining it. And over time, maybe, wrestle with that.
We'll evolve it a little bit.
We'll evolve it. We'll do a separate episode on power and control in relationships. But Charity was she wanted to see certain things from me. And for me, I just wanted it to be like, no, we accept that we're always together. And when we go out, like, it doesn't matter who initiates it. It doesn't matter who planned it, right? I wanted the power to guide the entire process, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, it needs to be like this. And so we went to that for a couple years. And then
I think we also need to talk about just a little bit, because I brought this to you because we talked about it often. Like I wasn't feeling like we were spending time together, and I wanted certain things. And I think it was, you were like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be.
I did say that.
He said that to me.
Because, yeah.
And so, he's like, this is normal. He's like, after a while, after a couple of years, he's like, it's normal for the bells and the whistles to fade. He's like, that's a normal part of it. Then he said, my parents are like that. He's like, they're married for
40-something years.
40-something years. He's like, and they don't do all this stuff together. He's like, that's normal. He's like, that what is it? You said a certain thing. The excitement. You said the excitement fades after a while. And he's like, you said that's normal. I was like, I felt so cheated.
Right.
I felt cheated.
And looking back,
and I was like, no, that happens for you. Like the excitement went for you, but the excitement didn't go for me. My husband still gets butterflies. I still get butterflies in my stomach with this man. He can smile.
I get butterflies for you.
He can smile a certain way, and I'm like, ooh. And that was still happening for me, and it wasn't happening for him anymore. And I felt cheated. I'm like, that's all I get? 2 years
Yeah.
of a happy marriage?
And I didn't know no better
To
because
die?
I hadn't been married long enough to even be able to say something like that.
But die in sadness?
But I was looking at a marriage that I saw that lasted, but it wasn't a healthy marriage, right? So I was looking at my parents' marriage, still together, but they have a lot of struggles, a lot of issues, and so that's what I knew, right? And there were other healthy marriages that we saw, but I had never really talked about dating with those couples, like, the importance of dating, and so I never really had that conversation with anybody. And I think that must have been what the trigger was. I think maybe our pastor or one of my friends might have, we must have had a conversation. I just can't remember exactly that moment in time, but it hit me that, Charity has been trying to tell me for the longest that what she wants, because, I know what happened. We would go on dates, we'll figure out and we'll somehow get out on the date. And then every time by the end of the date, it just was sour. We were routinely have dates end sourly.
I can tell you why it was sour.
Why was it sour for you?
Because for him, it was like a check mark. Yeah, I did it. We went out. Great.
That is so true.
Stop complaining now.
That is so true.
And it was just more like, all right, let's do this thing because you said it's what you want. And so, check. And
I ain't gonna lie. She ain't lying. That's what I was thinking.
And our marriage was quickly becoming unhealthy in that way. It was because I was becoming dissatisfied. You were thinking this is just a normal part of the marriage. And I started putting my energy into my son. I did. I remember
the baby loves me unconditionally.
I did. I was like, you know what? He loves me. And I was starting putting my energy in because I needed it. I craved it. And so I'm like, my son loves me and I'll just do stuff with him. And I just start becoming hyper-focused on our son. And then he started feeling like, wait, where's our intimacy?
I started feeling jealous.
He started feeling jealous. Like, get that baby out of the bed.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Oh
you started getting frustrated. Like, when are we going to hang out? And for you, it was like, oh, okay. For me, I needed the intimacy and all that stuff before. And for you, it's like, yeah, when we gonna make out? Like, what's really good?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, at the time, I just didn't realize, like, I'm not getting what I need to give you anything. And so I'm holding on to any sense of anything. Like, no, this is all mine. I'm just gonna give it to my son and he's giving it back to me unconditionally. You get nothing. Because for me, having to even give of myself in that way, I'm like, it'll just start feeling like, y'all know what I mean? You're giving, and then you're not getting anything. You just start feeling like you're dying on the inside. That's how marriage or relationships start to deteriorate.
Yeah, especially when you, and I think it's so unfortunate because I think what happens for a lot of people, and I know sometimes y'all get annoyed because we stop mid-sentence to say something else. This is part of the process of how we communicate in our relationship. We will get back to what we were saying. Okay, so just be patient because these little tidbits are really good. But what happens a lot of times in relationships, especially for couples who decide to move in together before they get married, they end up living together for years and years and years and years and never getting married. And a big part of it lies right here.
Yeah.
Is that they because when you move in together, there's a comfortability that you have. There's a feeling of presence, right? Because you're always under each other and you're always there. So much so that you want to find time away. And so it becomes, how do I get away? For men at least, I can't speak for every man, but I know for men, it starts to be like, dang, how do I need to get out of here. I need to go hang with the homies and something else. And for women, they're like, I'm trying to rekindle what we first had, right? And we're just happy because, in a lot of ways, for men, you have sex with us and we good. I'm just being real. I'm just keeping it really, really, really.
Women like sex
real.
Too.
Right, but this could be a whole other episode.
Okay, let's not go into.
No, but I'm gonna say this real quick. A huge part of that for y'all, there's a lead up to it that requires what we're talking about in terms of dating.
For a lot of women.
I
can't say all of us because some women just say, I don't need that.
Right.
I do.
Drop it in the comments if it resonates with you. But so back to the my epiphany. I started just really hearing you, and I was hearing that you just said the baby. They're like, what just happened? The baby. She's waking up.
Our baby's waking up.
We're gonna say this point, and maybe you might have her on camera?
Yeah, sure.
If she's good?
Yeah.
Okay. I started, you wanna go get her while I talk?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
This is a new thing, so I'm gonna keep talking.
Yeah.
And, because we got a new baby, go check out the birth. We did a home birth. It was amazing. Go check out that video on YouTube, on our channel. I will link to it right now. And then come back and watch the rest of this or watch that at the end, however you do it. But I had an epiphany, and the epiphany really was, man, she's been saying to me all this time, like every time she gets frustrated after every date, she's like, I just want you to plan the date. I just want to feel special. I like to feel nice. I like to dress up and go out. Like she's saying all these things, and for a couple years, all I could think was, yeah, but I don't feel that way. Why does it have to be what you want? Why can't it be what I want? Why does it have to be your way? Why can't it be my way? And we got stuck there for a while.
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening right now.
So precious.
We got stuck there for a while, and the breakthrough, the Lord just somehow changed my heart, and I started to realize and I started to hear what you were saying, right? And I think for years, like there's different parts of our marriage where I would eventually hear what you're saying, not hear what makes me feel uncomfortable, if that makes any sense.
And quick disclaimer, start to use your arguments as tools of paying attention to something maybe going on a deeper surface. Sometimes we're like, I just can't wait to get over this argument. But think about it, if your finger starts hurting, right? And you're just kind of like, oh, my finger's hurting. Okay. But your finger keeps hurting, eventually you're gonna be like, well, maybe something is wrong.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna be like, all right, my finger's just hurting. So sometimes those arguments, sometimes they're trivial, but sometimes if you're hearing the same thing over and over again, that's when you're like, okay, maybe something is wrong with the body of the relationship. Let's take a deeper look instead of just saying, oh, just there she goes, she's arguing again.
Yeah, because so one of the things you would say is we don't spend time together. Like we don't spend quality time together. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Like, we live together. We're always together.
We're always together. And then we'll sit down and watch a show. I'll probably be on my phone.
Yes.
During parts of that show. Or I might fall asleep or whatever.
Yes.
But to me, we sat down for an hour together. I was there. I took time out of whatever I was going to do or whatever I was doing to sit down with you. I did that because that's what you wanted to do. And I'm like, I'm always doing what you want me to do. What do you mean that you don't feel like we spend time together? I'm always spending time with you.
Oh, he's on the computer. He's like, I sat here with you. And I'm like, okay.
And so many marriages fall apart. So many relationships fall apart because you get stuck right here.
Yeah.
And what I realized what you're really saying is, I want to
be seen by you.
Oh my gosh. I was just about to say that.
Really?
No, I'm joking. No, I love it though. That was better than what I was gonna say. She wants to be seen by me. She doesn't want a passive relationship. You want the intentionality of what you expect. The reason why you married me is why you want to stay married to me.
Exactly. I want the things that I was getting
and
before.
So one of the best dates that I think we ever had in our entire marriage or in our entire relationship, because we weren't married at the time.
Okay. See that right there?
I know this is really, really bad. I'm so sorry. This is really bad. But so we live in New York City, and I planned this date in Central Park. They had canoes, and you remember?
You've never done anything like that ever again.
I know.
I used to think you were so romantic until we got married. I'm like, I guess he's not romantic.
That sounds so bad.
If somebody was to ask me, is your husband romantic? I'd be like, nah, he's not romantic.
So I'm gonna plan another date, and we're gonna take y'all with us.
If you ask me if my fiance was romantic, I'd be like, my fiance was so romantic.
And I'm like, gotta.
And I think it's awesome. He planned this date. And that was another thing.
No, let me finish.
Yes.
And is it okay that I start to now do this more in our relationship and bring them along?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, y'all coming along with us on a planned date sooner or later. All right, but anyways, so Central Park, canoes. We went and rented out a canoe, and then I had I don't know if I had a packed lunch, but I had like a bag that was packed, and we out in the middle of the lake, in the canoe, and then we were reading through this book, Boy Meets Girl. So it was like, there's 2 books, and they're in the links in the description below. There's I Kiss Dating Goodbye, and there's Boy Meets Girl. Boy Meets Girl is part 2 to I Kiss Dating Goodbye. And highly recommend reading. Highly recommend reading both of those books. So if you're single, read I Kiss Dating Goodbye. It will radically change how you see singleness. It'll radically change how you see dating, okay? As a single person, dating in the sense of, fighting and being boyfriend, girlfriend type thing. Yeah. And then read Boy Meets Girl if you're about to get married. It'll help you, just journey through that. But anyways, put those books, and we just sat on the water for like an hour or 2, and we just read to one another, and it was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was so amazing that I barely remember it. This was so long ago.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It was so long. It was what 13 years ago, Laban? You're awesome. You're awesome.
I gotta do better. But we've learned a lot about dating, and I got to a place to where I started being more in our marriage, where I started being more intentional about dating my wife.
And you initiated, which I think is amazing, because I think before he'd be like, oh, well, if you want to do something, you plan it and tell us what you want to do.
I wouldn't say it like that. I'll be like, why do I have to plan it all the time?
That's essentially like, you plan it.
Yeah. And then I'll be like, this is kind of going to connect back. If you watch, the episode on forgiveness, you're going to get what I'm about to say. But I'll be like, well, why do I always have to choose the restaurant?
And then I would choose a restaurant and be like, can we do this other restaurant? I'm like, man.
So it just really started changing, and so we did a few key things. So I started initiating. So that was a huge part.
That was huge.
I came to Charity. I'd be like, hey, let's go out on a date on Friday or Saturday.
Ooh, he just said that and I got excited.
And then I would initiate getting a babysitter.
Yes, he
so
would.
it's the planning, because for her it was like, treat me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were saying to me, treat me like I'm special. You know what I mean? Like I want to feel special.
And so the fact that you were doing all these things was like, I want to spend time with her so bad that I'm going to plan the restaurant. I'm going to make sure we have a sitter. And it was just kind of like, oh, he wants to spend time with me. It just made me feel special. Like, I can plan a date, but when I planned it just felt like, check. No, yeah, we do that thing. But he's planning it, it's more like, no, this is what we need, and I'm gonna make this special, and I'm like pursuing you, and then he's doing that. I'm like, ooh, I just feel all warm inside.
Yeah. So the chase essentially has to continue.
Yes.
The chase essentially has to continue, and you can go deep into that. But why does it have to continue? If you're married, you shouldn't have to be all that. And I know there'll be people. And you
do that. Let's see how that works out.
You do that. Yeah. See how that. I agree. I'm just leave it at that.
You do it.
Do you then? All right. We're talking about the wisdom of the things that we've learned that make our marriage thrive 12 years later.
Not if you don't want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's different. I'm pretty sure you didn't want to do it, did you?
No. I mean, once I started doing it, it was like, yeah, I want this.
Okay.
I want this too.
Because you
for
benefit from it when you take me out on a date.
Okay. All right.
Do you?
Yeah, they don't need to know all that.
But no, it's true though.
Yeah,
there's a. I want to say it's like, okay, you did this for me. I'm gonna do this for you. It's not really that.
It's not that at all.
It's just more like, something just turns on. Like it's just kind of like, oh, I feel just amazing. I feel like when we started doing that, we started seeing differences in our intimacy, and every other aspects of our relationship started changing.
Yeah, and it grew, and it continues to grow.
Yes.
Over time. So now it's at a point now where I can be like, hey, let's go out and have breakfast.
Yeah. Well,
and it'll be like a date. Like we make sure to have these moments because it's very important. What are you about to say?
Especially if you have kids, the moments are important, because you can we got 5 kids.
And we came into marriage with 2
kids.
And
so if you can't, sometimes finding a sitter and all that kind of stuff, you can make it happen. So there's times where he'll set up candlelight in the house and order food and things like that. Be careful of that though, because when you're in your home doing it, you can easily become like, oh, I'm home. And so because of COVID, we've realized we try to have date nights in the house, but we had to set perimeters on no distraction. So if you're gonna do date night, put down that phone, Take off that AirPod.
Wow. Oh my God. Sometimes we drop like little.
Don't answer your phone. Listen to kids. You have to set the non-negotiables. You just have to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we've been on dates and we've seen couples on dates and they're both like on Instagram. They're both sitting across from each other on their phone, and sometimes we're tempted to do that. Like, we have to check each other. Like, so sometimes on my phone, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, all right,
Yeah.
right."
But we don't just go out and just naturally expect one another to do something. I think that's a big part of dating is you can't go in with an expectation that's not spoken, right? And I think sometimes we would have dates, intentional dates, the good dates, where I may be expecting that we're on the same page about something because we're going out and it's a date. You should know not to be in your phone.
Yeah.
But if you haven't had that conversation ahead of time, like don't get there and then be like, why are you in your phone?
That'd be a funky attitude.
Like you can't, like, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things, and I think what happens, and I think it might be even worse for women, or maybe worse for men. I don't know, because men, I hate to say this, but a lot of us, we're like, well, if I take you out on a date, then are we gonna have sex later? Right?
No, guys, do not do that.
You can't have this expectation
Don't do
of
that.
something else is gonna happen because I'm doing this thing. I'm initiating it. She said this one, and then I better,
because the date is gonna end funky.
It's gonna end.
That has happened on his part, where I'm like, we had a great day, and then he ends the night just like, all right, good night. And I'm like, what's the matter with him? I thought we had a great time. And he's like, you're thinking,
yeah, you just calling me out, like
this is gonna lead up to something else. What's good?
Yeah, I'm not like that now. So we've learned
transactional. No transactional date.
There's no transaction here. Where's the other half of the transaction?
I did this for you. You should do this for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, then don't do it for me then. I'll just hold my baby.
She'll say that too.
I would say that. I'm like, then don't do it.
Yeah, so it's so important that if you do have expectations, make sure they're healthy expectations, and make sure that you talk about those expectations before you go out, because you will ruin the date talking about why you on your phone, or why this or why that, or how come this, and it just gets really bad really quickly.
Even if it's not perfect, just be like, just accept what's there for now, and just it'll evolve over time. So that's our homework. Go on a date.
Yes, and what you can do is before the next date, you say, hey, plan a date. If you're a guy, plan a date and be like, hey, and this time around, I want us to like I really want to, and frame it into why it's important. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just be like, can we not be on our phones this time? And it's just like nobody, like add a little honey. The Bible says like add a little honey, and be gentle with your words. So it's more like, hey, I really want to spend time with you, and I want our time to be like to get the fullness of the time, and it's just us alone, and I just really want to be able to just really enjoy your presence and your company. So is it okay, like when we go out tonight, that we make sure like we just agree like we don't pull out phones? So expectations is key.
Yes.
That they are spoken about and set beforehand.
Absolutely. So I'm trying to think of what was a good date that we had that I liked. It was like the best date ever. I used to like, I guess sad, this is all pre-marriage.
Oh my gosh.
You used to take me on the city bus, and we'd ride all the way down to the last stop.
Before I had a car, it's New York. Well, you don't need a car in New York City, but
Yeah, I like that because we just sat and talked for a long time. I just really enjoyed that.
We'll go to the end of the line and back.
Okay, let's be fair. Let's be fair to us. It's 12 years.
So
we had to have a good date at some point too.
No, I think we have plenty of good dates. I think it's so regular now.
It is. That's probably what it is, because it's weekly now. Every week we're like,
and multiple times a week.
And our kids are like, you guys are going on a date again? Yes.
I'm like, boys, pay attention.
Yeah, so we go out for like morning dates for coffee and take a walk and things like that. And then there's our evening dates where sometimes we're inside and sometimes we drive different places and things like that. So we started just driving out to Jersey and trying new things. So, yeah. It's amazing. I really love dating you. Thank you.
Yeah, so continuing with dating, what's another tip that you would say makes for healthy dating.
Get dressed up. Did you say that?
No, get dressed up. Wow.
Get dressed up, I'm saying that to myself. I'm saying it to y'all. Get dressed up, just try and just put on something new, just freshen it up a bit. Sometimes you want to be casual, but sometimes you want to just,
Yeah. I think it's a balance too.
put on something cute.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's a balance. I think it's like, sometimes maybe it is casual, and then like our morning dates, and we haven't had a dress up date in a minute.
Maybe we should have one tonight.
Maybe we should have one tonight.
Oh, okay. I got some new shoes that I want to try out.
There you go. So mix it up a little bit. Especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time.
You need it.
Just find something new. Sometimes even let it be spontaneous. I think the spontaneous, sometimes it's let's just break the mold. And if you're struggling with a stale relationship, you're struggling with a stale marriage, turn the camera off at the end of this episode, or turn YouTube off at the end of this episode, and just be like, look, let's go out on a date right
I'm taking
now.
You out.
Don't wait. Now dress up. But when you plan it, dress up. But if you're stale, if you're in that stale place, don't wait to get dressed up. Don't wait to think about it. Don't wait. Just get in the car and start driving and pick the first place you see. Seriously. Because I think that spontaneity, sometimes it really shifts things. And sometimes when you get in a rut, when you get stuck, it's hard to get out of it. And you just gotta force, if you're driving down a snowy path, the car is just stuck in the snowy path. So to get out of the snowy path, it's like, you gotta force the car out of it. So
that's important. Trying something new, doing something different. It's really important. It's so important. And I think everybody falls in a rut once in a while. But I think, you just keep those spices going. Just keep trying different things. It just creates the excitement. I think people underestimate the power of dating in your marriage or in your relationship. I think you underestimate that. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, we've been together for a minute, but the consistently dating and trying new things has really helped us in the last. I think you shifted this it's been years.
Yeah, it's been a few years. It's been a few years since I had my mind right about dating. But one of the things,
I thought it was going to die. I was like, I was really ready to live a marriage of just inner turmoil. I was like, I guess this is just what it is. I think, and then I was starting to think, don't be mad. But I was just like, maybe he's going to die first and I will live again.
Wow.
It was becoming that bad.
Wow. Praise the Lord.
I was dying.
God knows. And I'm just happy that he was able to get my attention and change my heart in that area. But
don't underestimate the power of prayer, y'all.
So I know people are like, well, he still didn't ever finish answering the first question. And I told you, we get back to it. Mm-hmm. Why it's important, what's important about dating. And I think one of the things that is really, really key is that it helps to keep things fresh. Mm-hmm. But I think it also helps to, it's a constant reset of the relationship. Because, when you go out on and while you're out on a date, it's super important. Think about the things that you want to talk about. Talk about how things are going. Talk about, because I think what also happens when you go out on dates, sometimes is that also becomes a routine, how the conversation goes or the things that you talk about. Oh, so what's happening at work? Oh, so you know what I'm saying? So
there's a secret to that though, and I think it's in the next one we're probably going to talk about.
Well, go ahead and drop a hint.
The importance of having a purpose and vision in your marriage.
Yeah. So I was going to say like this. So we won't talk about that fully right now. But what I was going to say is, ask hey, what are your dreams? What are you dreaming about? Yes. What do you want to accomplish in the next 5 years, right? And allow for the conversation to go beyond just work and home and just the basic things.
Because we're humans, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly changing. So
the thing that breaks my heart sometimes is when I see couples who are married and then they get divorced and they be like, well, we just grew apart. What do you mean you just grew apart? How does that happen? How does a tree grow apart? Right?
I like that.
If your marriage is rooted, mm-hmm. right? And the two become one and it becomes grafted together, how then does it grow apart unless you're not tending to it?
Absolutely.
Right? And I think sometimes you get stuck in, okay, well, and because some people are thinking, well, I don't have time to go out on a date because I work 7 days a week. Okay, well, you have a lunch break, don't you? Invite her down. Invite her for coffee. It can be a coffee. We do coffee dates all the time. Like we have at least one coffee date a
We should
week.
probably go do one.
Like, so dating doesn't have to be this big, huge thing. It can really be a very small thing. The key is that it's intentional, and the key is you're communicating to the other person, I want to spend exclusive time.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not necessarily about what you do.
Mm.
Like that's fun in itself. But the dating is not what you do. It's more about, I see you. I want to spend time with you. I want to get to know you a little bit more. I want to know how you're growing. What are your thoughts? What are your dreams? It's like, I want.
What are your struggles? What are your
struggles?
frustrations?
And these are the things that you're interested in that person when you first meet them.
Yeah. You know what else is key? Also using that time for healing.
Yeah.
You know? And going back to like the last episode about forgiveness, that's a perfect time to be like, you know what? I'm really sorry about something that happened. Don't go out necessarily for the purpose of saying sorry. And I don't think that's bad, but sometimes it's like, I'm going to take her out so I can let her going out be healing. That's not just covering up the wound isn't healing, right? The thing that helps to facilitate the healing is saying and expressing, with humility, with humbleness, making yourself low and say, you know what? I know I really hurt your feelings the other day. I'm so sorry about the things I said.
You're forgiven. Yeah. Who should lead the planning of the date?
I think the man should. And I know some people might think it's old school, and I know some people might be like, oh, well, the woman can. And yeah, like anybody can lead the planning. I just think that God is a God of order, not that the man is better than the woman, not that the woman's better than the man, not that, but more so that I think it just helps to facilitate the health in the marriage. And I know it's probably going to get complicated. Like, where's he going with this? I don't know. But the reason why I think it's healthy is because it kind of sets the tone. So like if you're in a relationship where you are not married yet, and yeah, so maybe the woman's planning it, right? But then she's also waiting for him to marry her. She's waiting for a proposal, right?
Yeah, I don't know what you mean.
So okay, I know. So she in the ebb and flow of the relationship, let's say the woman plans all the dates, and they're like, oh, that's fine. Like we like it like this, right? Mm-hmm. On the flip side, though, she's like, but I'm waiting for him to propose to me. But she's doing all of the leading in the marriage, in their relationship.
Okay, what you're saying is so nuanced, it's gonna get taken out of context.
Okay.
So I think we should
So help me explain it. Do you get what I'm saying though?
Kind of.
Okay.
Well, is it that she's looking for a ring right now, or are they just dating?
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying. No, and that's
like don't count like how you're saying it. Like you're talking about a specific person.
I got you.
So that's what I'm saying. Just nuance it, because some people are like, wait a minute.
Well,
that's
okay.
not why I'm doing it.
So let me explain it like this. I think it's good to model and begin to model what you want eventually, right? Mm-hmm. And so we believe that in a healthy, Christ-centered relationship, that the leadership is from the husband, right? So when you're not married and you are dating with purpose, watch the future episode on purpose, as a secret to a healthy relationship, it's important that the man is modeling leadership prior to the marriage.
This is a great area to start.
It's a great place to start. Start while you're not married.
Ladies,
I'll leave it like that.
Yeah. I think it's definitely important as well to plan dates and things like that. But I noticed a difference in our relationship when you started taking the lead on that.
Yeah, so none of this is to say that the women can't plan stuff. None of this is to say that only the man can. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying as a man is that it's important that inside of my processing, inside of my leadership of our relationship, that I understand how important it is for me to have those moments on a regular basis where I am taking the initiative.
Yes.
That's all we're saying.
Continuing the chase and continuing.
Continuing the chase. Continue to do what got us to where we are.
Yes.
Right? So
There
that
you
she
go.
wants to stay where we are. That's the essence of it. Everything else you can do, like mix it up. It's fun. There's times when you plan stuff.
I do.
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Wow.
No, I'm just saying
Spend a minute.
off the top of my head. But you know, like when we went on vacation.
I was gonna say I planned a whole.
When we went on vacation, she plans out the entire logistics of the things that we're gonna do, and then I start doing other things and jack it all up.
Yes.
Which is why I just remember that whole argument in the car on our road trip that I talked about in the last episode. That was why she was mad.
I was about to shut you out.
Because I started to veer from the plan because of things that were happening, and I'm just responding in real time without first talking to her.
Without communicating. So
And so-
no, we're gonna do this differently. I'm like, I spent all this time.
The
planning.
thing that shifted our road trip was essentially me stopping to acknowledge, like, oh, I'm so sorry that I'm changing things, making changes that are logical changes, but I didn't communicate with you. And then I just started to communicate all the things that I was hoping to change, and we had an amazing trip.
Oh, that should be our next secret: communication.
Well, yeah, so we should definitely do communication, but I was just gonna say, the same is in dating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're on a date and things aren't going well, like, it's okay to pause and acknowledge where you're messing up, right? And I think one of the worst things you can do is point the finger on a date. Why? Like, if you're pointing a finger, like, that's just, like, nothing good's gonna come out of that. And maybe the other person has enough humility to just kind of suck it up and just get through the night, but it doesn't really build your relationship. It actually takes away from your relationship. It actually sows negative seeds into your relationship. Anytime there's conflict, and we get it, in the heat of the conflict, it's easier to kind of go back and forth. But when you reflect and process the conflict, it's so good to only come back with the part that you can, that you own, your accountability for it. So I don't know.
That's great with that.
It's different doing it with the baby here.
It is.
It is so different doing it with the baby here because I feel like you're like gone right now.
I'm so sorry.
But it's okay. I think that we still have a lot of good information here in this episode.
We could do it again.
We could do it again. I don't really want to do it
Let's see
again.
what we got.
But we could do it again.
Let's see what we got.
You want to do it again?
Yeah, we got.
That's just kind of say, like, can we guarantee that she's never going to wake up?
Well, at least for one episode when she's not gonna wake up.
Well, if we keep this episode, this has been a great episode, the Love in the Middle show.
Yes.
We look forward to the rest of the 7 secrets of a healthy relationship that we've learned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. Listen, we're going to start putting out some small, shorter clips of these episodes and some of the past episodes. When you see them, don't be like, oh, I saw that already. Be like, oh, I'm going to share this with somebody. Yeah. Share it for us and with us to help us grow this channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers because we want to tell y'all about the honeymoon from hell. So subscribe and like this video. Drop a comment. Tell us what you like, what you appreciate, what you're going to work on. And until next time.
See y'all later.
Peace.